All right, so this clip that you're about to see was an interesting moment on the first debate night. Marianne Williamson is going to come out against Medicare for All, which, as Michael Brooks said, it broke his heart. I was always more skeptical of Marianne Williamson. She has the yoga mom, healing crystals vibe, and I just always felt like it was incredibly gimmicky, and I didn't trust her. But having said that, she was good for the rest of the debate, but here she comes out against Medicare for All, ruins all her lefty street cred. And then Pete Buttigieg is going to come in there and drop an elbow from the top rope and portray himself as leftier than thou. Let's watch and then we'll discuss.
I don't know if Senator Warren said that about me specifically. I admire very much what Senator Warren has said and what Bernie has said. But I have to say, I'm normally way over there with Bernie and Elizabeth on this one. I hear the others, and I have some concern about that as well. And I do have concern about what the Republicans would say, and that's not just a Republican talking point. I do have concern that it will be difficult. I have concern that it will make it harder to win, and I have a concern that it will make it harder to govern. Because if that's our big fight, then the Republicans will so shut us down on everything else.
Mayor Buttigieg,
it is time to stop worrying about what the Republicans will say. Look, If it's true that if we embrace a far-left agenda, they're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. If we embrace a conservative agenda, you know what they're going to do? They're going to say we're a bunch of crazy socialists. So let's just stand up for the right policy, go out there and defend it. That's the policy I'm putting forward, not because I think it's the right triangulation between Republicans here and Democrats there, because I think it's the right answer for people like my mother-in-law, who is here, whose life was saved by the ACA, but who is still far too vulnerable.
You know, funny enough, that actually is exactly what Mayor Pete is doing. He is triangulating and saying, I think this is the best middle path, because he's acting like he's in favor of Medicare for all, but he's not. He's in favor of Medicare for all who want it, which is just a public option, which is not Medicare for all. So let's be clear about that, because he's very slippery, this guy, man. I'm telling you, he really is. Now, putting aside the fact that he's wrong on the substance and he's not for Medicare for all, and he should be, that was his best line of the night. And that's, like, people were talking about it afterwards. He did nail it with that. Because he's right. It doesn't matter what you do. The Republicans are going to call you, a crazy far-left socialist, and sometimes they'll even call you a communist, and they'll try to make you apologize for Venezuela and Cuba and the Soviet Union, and they're not good faith actors, man. So acknowledge that. For Marianne Williamson, who's built this brand as like, oh, me? I'm kind of like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard, yeah. She's built her brand like that, and then she destroys it all in one little soundbite. Oh, I'm worried what the Republicans will say on healthcare, and if we make this our big fight, they will so shut us down. And are you kidding me? So that's how you know she's not a true believer in Medicare for all, because she's afraid of that. If somebody really believes in Medicare for all, you are rubbing your hands together like this when they tell you, oh, Republicans are going to go after you on Medicare for all. Really? I should only be so lucky. Is it Christmas morning, bitch? Am I 7? Oh, goodness gracious. I love that. It polls at 70%. Every other developed country has one version or another of single payer. And they pay half what we pay, they cover everybody, and they have better health outcomes. Yummy, yummy in my tummy, motherfucker. Okay? Are you kidding me? I would love it. Let's go. Let's have that debate. Let's have that discussion. You're afraid of how Donald Trump is going to respond on Medicare for all. Donald Trump. Let me at him, son. Let me debate Donald Trump on the issue of Medicare for all, and then everybody step the fuck aside. Because you couldn't get an easier situation. Let them lie. Let them be hyperbolic. You stick to the facts and you hammer away and you call them the frauds that they are, because they're exactly that. So that was embarrassing for Marianne Williamson. And that was a good line from Mayor Pete, even though Mayor Pete is incredibly misleading. This reminded me of the second night when Kamala Harris is up there seemingly defending Medicare for all, but her plan is not Medicare for all. She released her official plan. It is simply not Medicare for all. She wants like a Medicare Advantage, Medicare Part D type system for the entire healthcare system, which keeps the private health insurance companies ripping us off. So it's not Medicare for all. But it's so funny because they're up there like, surfer bro Mayor Bennett is like, you're for Medicare for all? Not rad. Totally not tubular, Kamala. And Kamala's like, well, let me defend Medicare for all. But they're having that conversation. None of them on stage support Medicare for all. None of them arguing support Medicare for all. So it was weird in the same way that this was weird, how Mayor Pete comes in there and hammers Marianne Williamson and does a good line, but you're not actually fighting for Medicare for all. So the sad thing is we're unfortunately relying on the wisdom of the viewer to know that, to understand that there's a difference between Medicare for all who want it and Medicare for all extra and Medicare for all. Unfortunately, I don't have that confidence that people know those specifics, but that's where I come in, and hopefully enough people watch this clip where they get it and it has an impact.